Hi, I'm Heba, and I'm going to take you through a Pilates mobility session today. So we're going to start standing tall with the feet hip-width apart. We're going to start by working our way up from the feet, mobilizing all the little feet joints, going all the way up to the head and neck. So go ahead and take your right foot forward. You need to be barefoot for this session, or socks is fine. You're going to take one foot forward and then slowly start to roll to the outside of the heel, and then you come back to the middle. Roll to the outside of the heel, and then come back to center. And as you do this small movement, focus on keeping your knee tracking forward, and you're just turning the foot out. You're going to turn your whole foot 45-degree inward and just keep going, rolling to the outside, and then come back to the center. Rolling to the outside, and come back center. And the joint you're trying to open is this little space here. Just got a really important nerve ending. And then change feet. Take the other foot forward. You want a nice tall spine again. Roll out, come back center. So once you know what you're doing and you're feeling the joint target you're trying to open, try not to look down at your feet, but stand tall. Turn the foot in 45 degrees and again roll to the outside. Again, it's this space that you're trying to open. You're trying to feel like the heel is moving underneath. And relax. We take the right foot forward again, and you're going to plant your big toe and little toe on the floor, and then circle the heel round like you're trying to massage the ball of your foot against the floor. And the ball of the foot is this section underneath your toes. Keep your big toe and little toe fixed on the floor, and let the heel be the driver of that circle. Let the heel circle around. Change direction. In, down, out, up. In, down, out, up. One more. And then change legs. Other foot goes forward, circle round. The feet joints are so important because that's where so many of your nerve endings live. And if you start to open up spaces for those nerve endings, you can have such great benefits going up the chain. Your lower back will feel better, hips, mid-back, change direction, just because of those nerve connections. Circle round. Here the joints are these small joints at the top of the foot that you're trying to open. And relax. Last one for the feet. You take the right leg up, circle the ankle round, but try not to tense your toes here. And if you feel you're tensing your body to balance, just hold on to the wall or chair. Change direction. And change legs. Other foot goes forward, circle the ankle. And change direction. And even though Pilates is about stability, you get stability through good mobility. Each joint moving on its own really, really well. Makes us much more stable when we're moving. And relax. Let's lift the right leg up again. We're going up to the knee. And I want you to think of stirring a pot with your foot. So you're circling round and change direction. Just trying to notice any kinks in that circle, any choppy sections. And then change legs. Sometimes if you're struggling to move a joint, it's a good idea to close your eyes when you're doing it. And you start to feel like you have a bit more awareness of that joint that you're trying to move. Change direction. Remember, we're stirring the pot, and it's coming from the knee, the circle. And relax. Going up to the hips now. The hips are probably one of the most important joints in Pilates, getting the hip-pelvic disassociation. So if you lift your leg up and start to move your leg in its own hip joint, you can be stable in the pelvis and lower back if the hip is moving well, if the leg is moving well in the hip joint. So none of this has to get involved. The lower back is stable, pelvis stable, and that's where my core stability comes from. We're going to take the leg out 45 degree, keep the opposite hip back, and again you do a side-to-side pendulum, really, really stable. Great, let's change legs. So we take it forward, side-to-side hip. Hold on to the wall if you need to so you can really focus on what's happening. Open, 45 degree. Here, watch that your pelvis isn't turning. So your hip bones, they're like headlights and they're pointing forward. And relax. Let's go up to pelvis now. So we're going to tilt the pelvis back and forth. Often we do pelvic tilts in Pilates and we move the back too much. So you don't want to make this movement come from your spine. You want to try and disassociate your pelvis from your lower back so that the movement at the lower back is very, very small as you tilt forward and backward. Try and do little pelvic circles. And it should almost look like you're not moving. So tiny. The legs are really still. I'm only moving the pelvis. Change direction. And you're trying to lengthen your spine away from the pelvis. Create lots of space in this area. Find your neutral spine position and then stretch your legs. We're going to go to the side as we breathe in with the spine. We're moving up to the lower back now. Drop your head and shoulders for half a circle, bending the knees a little bit. Go all the way to the opposite side and then come back up to standing. We go the other way. Inhale, side bend. As you go around, you're going to bend your knees a little. You drop your head and shoulders, falling heavy like a rag doll. Back to the side and lift. And you don't want to go all the way down. It's quite shallow because you're trying to open the lower back. On this one, if you have any back trouble, just make it very shallow so it's more focused on upper back. To the side and lift. We'll do one more. Side bend. Drop your head and shoulders forward. All the way over to the side and back up again. Roll your shoulders back. Big circles. Let the arms hang heavy. Change direction. Roll them forward. We're going to move our shoulder blades now. So if you take your arms out to a 45 degree, as you breathe out, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. And as you breathe in, reach the arms forward so they spread apart. So you pull your shoulder blades together and then you reach apart. So if I were to face the back, I'm going to bring my shoulder blades in and then you reach away, spread them. Bring them in and then reach away. In, reach away. And now we add some upper back movement to this. So as I reach my fingers away, I'm going to round and feel like someone's pushed me from the breastbone backward. And as I bring my shoulder blades together, I'm going to lift the chest and breathe in. Breathe out to reach back, rounding. And breathe in, extend, and lift the breastbone. Exhale, we go back and round. Inhale, extend and lift. Two more. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, extend. Last time, exhale, round. And inhale, extend, and relax. Moving on to the actual shoulder joint now. We're going to draw a figure of 8 in front of the body. Try and keep the rest of the body really, really stable. Change direction. You can make this quite a bit more advanced by going really, really fast with the shoulder and trying to stabilize the core against that. So it's like dynamic core stability. And then we hold the arm in front, we go across the body and beside. This is still a figure of 8, but it's a horizontal one. And it's an 8 that's going around the body. So feel a bit of a stretch down the chest as you take the arm back. And try not to turn the body at all. So it's about moving everything in isolation. Change direction. Good. And we move the other arm now. So take the other arm forward, front, top and bottom figure of 8 first. An 8 will typically take your joint through its full range of motion, better than a circle would. So that's why we do a lot of 8s. Change direction. Tall spine. This may feel a little tricky on your left arm if you're right-handed. But take a moment to think about it and visualize the 8. Now we go across the body and beside you. So feeling a little bit of a stretch down the front of the chest, keeping your core stable and not letting the whole body turn with the arm. How this will benefit you is whenever you start to move your arms or you're carrying, lifting things, you can move your arm without involving other parts of your body. You can move it in its own shoulder joint and relax. This last thing now we're going to move up to the neck. So we'll start by tilting the head side to side and then turning the head. Make a really long neck with this. Center, forward and back. Do this little neck series if you have a desk job or if you tend to get a lot of neck tension. Just try and learn this little sequence to do at your desk if possible. And then draw a figure of 8 again with your nose, horizontal one. And change direction. And relax. And we're going to go ahead and sit on the floor now. So if you sit with your legs straight out, and you're going to lean back comfortably with your legs turned out. We're going to go back to the hip joints now. And we're going to bend the knees out to the side. Bring the knees together, keeping your feet apart. And then roll the legs straight. So you're going to roll your leg bones outward. Bend the knees. Spiral the legs in. And stretch. And these are called hip spirals. So you go out, in, stretch. Roll out, in, stretch. And my pelvis is really still because I'm sitting. So it's such a good one to do if you're struggling with any hip stiffness. It's quite a nice gentle one. It feels so great on the hips. We're going to change direction now. We're going to roll the legs in, bend the knees, open the knees out, stretch the legs. Roll the thigh bones in, bend, open, and stretch. Roll in, bend, open, stretch. One more time. In, round, stretch. Good. Take it into your Zed Sits. So this is like a letter Z. You're leaning back, and you're going to keep the feet exactly where they are as you switch your knees over to one side, and then switch your knees over to the other side. So again, we're going one way, then the other. Trying to get both knees to touch the ground. If you're able to, you're going to let go of your arms, lengthen as much as you can as you do your switches. The only problem with this exercise is you'll find you're moving about everywhere. So just keep shuffling back to your mat if you don't have a lot of space. So to increase the load on this, when we come down, you're going to have your toes really pointed. You're going to squeeze the bottom and lift your hips up to a sit position, and then you come back down again, switch, and sit up, down again, switch, roll up, down again. So now you're mobilizing your hip joints and loading them to work the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit on the way up. Good. Down, switch, lift, down, switch, lift, and relax. Well done. Okay, so we're going to roll down through the spine now. Reach the arms forward. Roll down one vertebra at a time as you breathe out. Circle the arms round. Nod. Roll up one vertebra at a time. So now we're just going to bring the awareness back to the spine. And if you feel here that your spine isn't mobilizing very well and you're getting a big chunk of vertebra lifting in one go, then I would put a pillow underneath the lower back. Nod, roll up. Put a pillow underneath the lower back so you can roll over it, and then it assists you on the way up. The bigger the pillow, the more assistance you're going to get. With the knees bent, you're going to mobilize your lower back quite a bit more than when you have them straight. Engage your core a little, lengthen, roll back, circle, roll up, bend. Okay, lift the legs. We're going to roll like a ball now. So make your C curve with your spine. You're sitting off your sitting bones. You need to be as round as possible. You need to keep your eyes at the knees the whole time. So you're going to inhale to roll down, exhale, come up and balance. Roll down through the center of your spine, then lift. Roll down and lift. And since this is mobility Pilates, we're going to turn this into a little bit of a stretch. From rolling like a ball, stretch your legs, roll forward. Inhale, exhale, come back, stretch. Try not to slam your legs down. So you want a nice quiet landing with your heels. Reach. And again, roll back. Stretch. 2 more. Roll. Stretch. 1 last time. Roll back. And stretch. And relax. Go ahead and lie down on your mat again. And you're just going to take your feet to the edges of the mat and swing the knees side to side again, like you were doing your Zed Sits. I'm just going to put my mic back on as you do that. So side to side with the knees. Try and get the knees as close as possible to the floor. And relax. Take your arms out to the side with the palms up. You're going to try and remain in neutral as you lift one leg up, then the other. Squeeze your legs together and take your legs over to one side. Only as far as both shoulders can stay heavy on the mat. Inhale, we come back. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come back center. Exhale, twist. Center. Exhale. If this feels too much load on your back, just bend your knees to the floor. Keep your feet on the floor. And if you want a more progressed version, you can stretch both legs up to the ceiling, and you only go as far as both shoulders can stay heavy on the mat. Use the core and ribs to pull yourself back in. Let's go one more time on each side. Come back to center, take the legs down, and relax. So we're going to do a shoulder bridge now. We're going to breathe in to prepare, and breathe out, imprint, push down into your feet, and peel the spine off the floor, 1 vertebra at a time. You breathe in, stay at the top, and breathe out to roll down through the spine and release to neutral. So we're rolling up. And again, you're trying to focus on spine mobility and see how mobile does your spine feel today. Which parts of your spine are a little bit sticky or stiff? Rolling up. This is a really gentle, nice one if you have any lower back trouble. It's a nice way to introduce mobility back to the spine after having not moved it for a while if you've been injured. Roll up and roll down. Good. Rolling up. Hold it at the top. We're going to try to do hip circles here. So keeping your hip bones really level. Stretch one leg out so it's in line with the other thigh. And start to do circles, trying to stabilize the pelvis and the opposite leg. So you've got to work really strongly here in your glute and hamstring on the supporting side. Change direction. You may want to cross your arms over your chest. That's quite a challenge. And relax. and then stretch the other leg out. If this feels too much for you, forget the circles and just focus on lifting the legs up one at a time in a tabletop 90-degree position like this, and then you just alternate. You don't have to do the full circles. Because priority is that you can keep your pelvis high and you can keep your pelvis stable. So you're going to change direction. You want to go about 10 circles in each direction if you're able to. 5 maybe to start off with. Good. And I can really feel my opposite leg working now. Take the leg down, roll down one vertebra at a time, hug the knees into the chest. Great stuff. So we're going to do rollovers now. You stretch your legs over at 45 degree. Slowly send the legs over the face. Use your abdominals to send the legs over. Inhale, take the legs down, stretch. Lift, roll down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Send your legs over 45 degree. Again, slowly roll over without using momentum. And you may find that your legs won't go there. And if you're struggling, don't force your spine over. Put a pillow underneath your pelvis, underneath the bottom, and just very gently work in this range. Tiny lift through the tailbone using your lower abdominals. And you may find that if you hold some heavy furniture behind you, or someone's ankles maybe, you'll find that it's a lot easier to send the legs over smoothly. Slowly going over, touch down, lift, roll down, release, last one. And relax. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn over to the side now. So you're gonna lie down on your side and take your top leg straight, bottom waist lifted, bottom leg bent. And you're gonna flex your foot, top arm goes over, and pull the wrist of the bottom hand with the top arm. Pull the wrist of the top arm with the bottom hand, and make your top side feel really, really stretched. Then start to circle the leg round in the socket with a really energized, flexed foot. Nice smooth circles, remembering that the leg can move in the hip joint without the pelvis and lower back moving too. Change direction, go round. Small circles. And hold. Take the leg forward for 2 kicks. 1, 2, point, extend the leg back. Inhale, go forward. 1, 2, exhale, take the leg back. Again, think of a drink sitting here on your top hip bone, and you don't want the pelvis to move at all. So it's like your leg is just moving better in a gait-like movement. You're getting better at walking, more stable. As you take the leg back, you're going to use your glute and your hamstring, not your lower back, to take the leg behind you. 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 1 more time. And relax. Well done. Okay, so let's go ahead and change sides. So you're going to roll over to the opposite side, and you're going to have your leg bent. Bottom leg bent, top leg straight. And stretch the top arm. Hold the wrist of the top arm with the bottom arm. Flex your foot. Energize that leg. Start to circle round. And make your leg feel so long as you do these. Almost like you're trying to create a little bit of distraction in your own hip joint. Create space. And change direction. And with joint mobility, you're trying to focus on smoothness at the joint. Any section of your joint that's a little choppy or not smooth, it means that your brain has not connected to the area. So by slowing down the movement, you're clearing up the map of your hip in your brain. You're trying to smooth out any bits that aren't represented in the brain as clearly as some of the other sections of your hip. And then hold the leg up. Still, we're going to go inhale for 2 counts. 1, 2, exhale, take the leg back, and inhale forward. 1, 2, exhale, the leg goes back. Inhale forward. 1, 2, exhale, reach back. 4 more. Really fold at the hip joint and try not to tuck the tailbone under. 1, 2, release. 1, release. Last time. And relax. Okay, we're going to roll over on the front now. So you just have to lie down on your tummy and take your arms out to a swan position just outside the mat. Your arms are like in a capital E. And you're going to breathe in to look over your shoulder, lean over to the side and try and see your foot. And then dip through the middle and look over the other shoulder, try and see your foot again. So we breathe in, reach over to the side, come down. You're lifting and side bending at the same time. Don't worry about keeping the elbows down, they can lift. This is a mobilizing exercise for your upper back. And there's not a lot of stiffness to it. There's not a lot of rules. You just try and see that foot. So turning your head as much as you can and your neck. Breathe in, lift, look over, breathe out, sink. And you'll just feel a release down the mid-back. 1 more on each side. And relax. We're going to lift the leg up, rest the head on your hands, and just do small circles with your hip. And change direction. And change legs, lift the other leg, circle. 1, 2, 3. Again, trying not to use your lower back. Change direction. 1, 2, 3. Both legs together. Then lift. Slightly turned out. We're going to circle up. 1, 2, 3. Change direction. 1, 2, 3. Kick the legs. And you're trying to move your legs dynamically now, but keeping the pelvis and the lower back really, really stable. And you should feel the work happening in the backs of the legs and in your glutes. And relax. Well done. Let's push back to a shell stretch and relax. So we're going to come up to all fours, and we're going to do a cat stretch, and we're going to do a rolling cat stretch. So this time, you're going to take your ribs to the side, up to the other side, and down. Roll to the side, lift to the other side, and down, as if your spine is like a skipping rope, and you're rolling it around in every direction. If this is confusing, just do a regular cat stretch going straight up and straight down. Trying to break down the movement until you figure it out. Let's change direction. If you're doing the circles, you're going round, around, around. This should just feel so great on your spine. Last time. And relax. Stretch your legs. See how your body feels. In a lengthened position. Every joint has been moving now. Lengthen forward through the crown of the head and just feel all the space you've created in the body. Don't let the head drop. Spread your shoulder blades on the back. We're going to lift the hips up into a downward dog now. In a downward dog stretch. I'm going to very slowly walk the hands towards the feet. Come up to standing. Bend the knees if you need to. Slowly roll up. One vertebra at a time. And then when you reach the top, you want to just circle your wrist around. Because that's the only joint we haven't moved. Change direction. And relax. And well done. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you feel nice and mobile.